Okay, this is a continuation of my last video that I did about how storylines can lead to chronic depression. And an interesting twist to this whole thing that I posted was that, if you remember, I realized, God spoke to me, and I was hearing the idea that, I'm making assumptions about these people that had moved out, had left all of a sudden, that I don't even know are true. I don't know these people. And not only am I making a whole storyline up around it, making assumptions around it, but they're affecting me emotionally. And so I decided to assume better and to have that story be the story. I decided to say, hey, what if, let's just assume that everything went well with them putting their dog down, that it went well, and yeah, of course it's hard, it's going to be hard, but they went through it well, and the reason they're gone is because a house came up for sale, and they got into a home. Now, this was, in my mind, from what I knew of them, a far-fetched, but it felt so much better, and it helped me to feel better because, like I said, I'm empathic, and if you don't understand what I'm talking about, then just see the video that came before this one, because that's part one of this, and it explains what I'm talking about. Well, the interesting thing is they showed up. Like 2 days later, I saw them. They were cleaning the apartment out. And so I was like, hey, I was able to talk to them. And guess what? Everything went well with putting the dog. They did put their dog down. They were saddened by it, but they seemed to be okay. And the reason they were moving was because a house came up for sale. And it was 10 acres, and they grabbed it. Like, they were able to grab this 10 acres. And they have children, and, it's just a long story. I don't want to get into their personal details, but the assumption that I put in place of the sad assumption manifested. And I was like blown away, because if you know, I practice living intentionally by the law of attraction. And I believe in the law of attraction. It's just as sure as the law of gravity. And my whole healing process is about changing my mindset and changing the way I view things. And assumptions there is about a whole thing out there. Neville Goddard teaches about the law of assumption, about assuming something, whether it's in this world or yourself, whatever, assuming the new reality that you're trying to create for yourself. So it was such a testament of the law of assumption working, because I wasn't even really consciously thinking about, law of assumption, let me think of something better. I had just literally thought to myself, I could assume something different that doesn't feel so depressing. Because in my last video, I was talking about how our storylines can be depressing. The storylines that we're ruminating over in our mind can be very depressing. And they can cause this undercurrent of depression inside of us, overall depression, and we don't even realize that it's the tapes that we're running through our mind that are causing us to feel horrible, want to get out of this world, So I thought that was so incredible that happened that way, and I wanted to share that with you. I was just blown away. I was blown away. The chances. What were the chances? They seemed so low. From what I knew and understood this couple, the chances of that being the case was low. And yet I just decided, that's what I want to assume. I want to assume something good. And people talk about how we're jumping timelines. Have you ever thought that maybe so many of us are learning so much about creating our reality that we are literally shifting timelines constantly? That could be what is going on here, right? We could be shifting the world around us, how the world appears to us. We could potentially shift into heaven on earth just by our assumptions. So anyways, I just wanted to share that. I just thought that was incredible.